Yeah, that Make Everything New, that became kind of the theme song of the week, and it's hard to imagine. You guys can sit down if you want, that might make you more comfortable. It's hard to imagine, but just us being there looking from Sunday to Friday night, God made so many things new, it was unbelievable. So I'm not going to get choked up because that's for later, but so we found out Sunday evening that we were all being broken up. We did not go on the trip knowing that. And our initial reaction, some of us were excellent. It's like, Heather, go tell them we have to be together. So we did room together, but we found out that we would be meeting our cruise of complete strangers Sunday evening. And it ended up being one of the best parts of the trip. I mean, everybody made new friends, and we were able to touch 16 lives rather than just one or two. We were able to do 16 homes, some of them more because some had multiple projects throughout the end of the week. But before they share, I just want to let you know, when they got into groups of complete strangers on Sunday night, there were 5 job descriptions that they had to volunteer. Everybody on the crew had to take one of these jobs. And the first one was a snack packer, and that was a person who had to get up and go early and prepare the lunch for the whole group for the day. Then there was the tool techs who had to go, get the tools from the tool shed that they needed for the work for the day. That was a daily job too. Then there were care bearers who had the first aid kit and did some of that care type stuff. There were check-in chiefs who at the end of every day had to check in with the Teen Serve staff to let them know the progress on the house and if we were going to need a second crew and all that type of stuff. And finally, there were Devo doers. And that, to me, I thought was going to be the hardest one to fill. It was those who would take care of the devotions for their group of strangers, remember, for the whole week. And we actually had 2 of our kids, I'll let them tell you, but 2 of our kids the first night volunteered to do that, which blew me away from the beginning. So we're just going to let them kind of share about their work site experiences, and then we'll move on to something else. And I'm thinking Alex is the first.
Hello, I'm Alex. Our project was a 1-story house, and we had to repaint the whole house, and it was pretty easy. And then we ended up getting done with that, so we moved on to another one. And the residents at the house they were old and they were really nice. They helped us sometimes and they made us some snacks. On the team, I was the tool tech, and I don't really know much about tools, so I just kind of got stuck with that one. But I was fine with it. I made it work. And then when we were working, one of their neighbors got locked out of their house, and they had a window open, and there was a really small girl on our crew, and so she climbed in the window and unlocked it for her, and it was really cool. Then she gave us cookies. That was awesome. That's pretty much it.
I'm Cameron. My project was a trailer home that we had to repaint, and then we had to put in a new set of stairs leading off from the back and front of the trailer. Our resident was I think she was like mid-50s. She was a single person living alone. My job on the team was the tool tech. I had to go get the tools every day that we were going to be needing for the project, and yeah. I guess the positive story that we had from our trip was really from when we were working. Our resident's friend would come over all the time, and we actually figured out that it was her ex-husband, who, despite getting divorced, they were still really good friends. And so I thought that was kind of neat. She didn't really come outside and talk to us much, but she was a really nice lady, and yeah. Whoever's next.
Clay, and our project was going to a 1.5-story house, painting the house and doing the garage. Our residents were really nice and fun to hang out with and everything. They were going to get married in June, I think. They had 2 kids. They couldn't really afford to do it themselves. My job on the team was the snack packer, bring all the food and stuff to our crew. And so usually our our residents ate with us, talked with us a lot, did our divas. Yeah, it was really fun.
My project was a one-story house, and we had to paint the whole house and wash it all and scrape it all. And our resident's name was Sally, and she didn't really come outside a lot. She did a lot of work for other people, and she didn't have a car, so she walked everywhere. And my job on the team was check-in chief, and I went and told how our project was doing, and we didn't get it done until Friday because it was a big house. And my positive story was that we had to hang tin on the garage because it was like so bad that we couldn't fix it. So I had to hang tin, and I was the only girl doing it, and I had the power tools and everything. And they were all making fun of me because I knew how to do that stuff.
I'm Jacob. My project was I had to paint the entire house in the garage, and there was a little roofing repair. My resident was around 40-ish. Her husband is deployed in Afghanistan a month ago, and she had one autistic kid, and she had a 19-year-old and a 14-year-old. My job was to check in chief, tell how we were doing and how long it would take. We didn't get done until Friday. The positive story of mine was, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. They all showed up, like their entire family, and they sat down and had lunch with us and did their devotions with us and prayed with us and stuff. Okay. And not so positive one. She took out her Reddit that they've had for about 8 months, and we were passing around and we accidentally broke his leg. So they had to go to the vet, and they broke its leg and part of its back. Which recovered.
I'm Kelsey, and my project was a one-story house, and we had to scrape all the paint off. We had to paint it again. We had to paint the foundation, the garage, and the basement. And we didn't get finished till Friday because it took forever to get everything scraped. My resident was an old woman, and her husband just died not too long ago, and she had her daughter that lived with her, and she had special needs. My job on the team was the devotional doer, which that meant was basically that I did the devotions every single day during lunch, and then we just had like a long talk about the devotions. And something positive that happened was we had Christmas in July at her house on Friday, and she all made us Christmas wreaths, and it was really, really fun.
I'm Madison. My project was we had to scrape and paint a garage and then do the trim around her windows and build her a handicap ramp. My resident was about 70. Her husband had been gone for a while. She was going into kidney failure, so she couldn't do anything by herself. That's why she wanted us to help her. My job was the care bearer, which is really cool actually, because I got to go to know the resident a lot better than most of the other people, because I got to talk to her a lot, and I carried the first aid kit. Positive story was Friday. We had like an afternoon worship, and she came to it, and she was so grateful, and she said that we were like her grandkids because she only had 2 of her own. They actually lived in Kentucky, so she was so grateful, and that was really awesome.
I'm Sean, aka Xavier II. a story on the side. When I was there, the lady was really emotional because her mother just passed away when we was there, and so she had to go to a funeral the first day there, so we didn't get to see it the first day. And when she came back, she wrote us a letter, and the letter was saying how we're the best group of kids she's ever seen as an adult. She needed us the most, and her neighborhood was really nice actually, and it was like a suburb part, and her house was just kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, she said, and how what we're doing was just an amazing act of God.
I'm Taylor, and my project was a one-story house, and we had to scrape the house, paint the house, trim the windows, and paint the inside of the living room. And our resident was a 43-year-old woman and her son, and she had just been divorced and she just lost her job, so she was struggling financially, so she needed us to come help her. My job on the team was the tool tech, so every day I had to go out to the tool room and get whatever we would need for the whole day, and then return our tools at the end. And a positive story was our resident had a neighbor who was an older gentleman, and he all week was giving us tools and supplies and asking how he could help us. And on the last day, he brought us donuts for breakfast and wrote us all letters about how inspired we had made him. And so we came to our evening worship service, and he actually prayed with us and told us that because of what we were doing with his neighbor's house, he was going to become more involved with the Lord and start praying more and pull out his Bible readings.
My name is Zach, and my project was a trailer home, and we had to build a new staircase leading up to the porch and just do some small repairs around the house. And we painted every room except the living room. And after that was done, since we finished on Thursday, I went to help Cameron's group, and we put a skirting around the trailer and did some other work. And then we even finished that one, so I ended up going to a third job. And we put new gutters on the house and painted a garage. And actually my residents, their names are Bob and LaDonna. And Bob got diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, and he had his stomach completely removed, and he only had 6 more months left of chemo, so we've been praying for him. And my job was the tool tech, so I've got the tools every day and was in charge of taking them back. Something really awesome about our residents is they got us pie from the fair, so I had some strawberry rhubarb pie. It's pretty good. And Wiley's not here, but something I wanted to share was, his resident, she asked the people at Team Serve to pray for her son who was in a boys' home, and so we all were praying about that, and the day after that, she got a call that he was being released on Monday and coming back home. So that was really eye-opening about how God really answers prayers.
I'm Danielle. My project was painting a 1.5-story house and a garage and all the trim. My residents, they weren't, I went into this thinking we were going to be working on senior citizens or handicap homes, and our residents were probably in their 30s. They had a 15-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son, but they made it clear, even though they both worked, they just could have never afforded what we did. My job on the team was crew leader, and one of the positive stories from my week was we really didn't know if, we didn't see the mother that much. She worked during the day, but the father took the week off work, and we really didn't know if he was a Christian or not, and it was kind of intimidating to ask. He had like a long goatee and a lot of tattoos and just kind of rough, and he just kind of intimidated, but towards the middle of the week he started coming and eating lunch with us, and at the end of the week he actually did devotions with us. And there was even one night where his 15-year-old daughter came to one of our praise and worship sessions in the evening and brought some of her friends too. It was really amazing.
My name's Eric. I was a crew leader. My very first project we did detached garage and we built a wheelchair ramp. And the family that I got to work with, the Dennison family, this family really touched my heart. Mr. and Mrs. Dennison, they were adoptive parents. They had 8 kids, all adopted, and they all had special needs. And the Dennisons, Mrs. Dennison, she was pretty much in a wheelchair, could walk in a cane, but Mr. Dennison has had 3 brain surgeries. He's been disabled since 47. But you wouldn't know it by talking to him. The one thing that touched me probably this whole week, they would cook for us. They opened up their homes and their hearts to us. And they changed me and my heart. And it's kind of hard. Just to listen to them say every day that the Lord is good to them, and to know their struggles. The things that I would take for granted every day, this family, just an awesome group, and they touched me, very much so.
My name is Chris, and my project was a 2-story house, and it was kind of a daunting task because if you have a red band, does anybody have a red band? Okay, that means you're 15 and younger, which means you can only go 3 rungs up on a ladder. So if you're 15 and younger, you can only go, and that's all I had. I had 4 kids with a red band. It was me and another lady. So we were the only ones that could get up on the ladder to go high enough on this 2-story house. And it was like a concrete cinder block house all the way up. And it was very discouraging, actually. When we got there, we looked at it, and me and my partner, we were like, oh, we're going to have to rethink our win. What's going to be our win? We thought, well, we can just paint the whole first story, and that would be the win for us. And, actually, we did get the whole house painted, but we didn't get the trim done because we didn't want the kids to get discouraged. So actually, it was just great to get the whole house done. Our residents, they were older people. The guy was 80, as you can see. He had a bad knee and kidney, problems with his kidney, and his wife had cancer in her stomach, and she had a PET scan that day. That's why she's not in the picture. But they both were believers, and very just gracious, generous people. And because of the kids that had the red bands, you can see them all there, they couldn't go up any higher. So after we had the first floor done, we had to find them another job. So they painted, they mowed the lawn, they picked pulled weeds. They had a little garden with green beans in it, so they picked all the green beans for her. And the next day, she had them all snapped and cooked them for us for lunch, which was really nice. And I was a crew leader on the team, and it was just awesome just to work with these people from all different parts of the country. So that's my story.
Okay, I'm Heather, and my project was a 2-story stucco house, and I hate stucco now. It was okay. It was white, and we had to make it gray. So aside from the fact that it was 2 stories, every time you brush or roll it, you then have to go over and brush it because you have little tiny white dots everywhere because it's stucco. So anyway, we had to change our perspective after the first day too, and unfortunately, I'm wearing a green band, which means you go super high on the ladders. I was a little scared in the beginning of the week. I actually did a Spider-Man dive onto the 2nd floor roof because the gutter shifted, and I thought I was gonna die. But I'm here, and I conquered my fear of heights by the end of the week. Anyway, my family was a young family with 4 kids. They were in their 30s, just kind of struggling. They both worked, and just super nice people. I was the co-crew leader with another guy from Illinois, and a positive story was the first day we got there, she let us know that she was a baby Christian, and she was excited just like a toddler. I mean, every day she would tell us the experiences she was having, and she just had so much energy and wanted to share and be encouraged by us on her new Christian walk. So we didn't necessarily get to minister to her that way, but she was so much fun and got us popsicles every day and froze water for us and all that kind of stuff. So it was a great experience. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. On Friday night of our program, kind of the grand finale, one of the speakers shared with us a verse from Revelation that talked about worshiping and testifying. And he actually called 10 kids up to give their testimonies from the week. And it was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen, to hear 14, 15, 16-year-olds talk about how their lives were changed this week. And just this talk you're used to hearing adults say, you know, they were up front testifying. So I just gave our kids the option, if they would want to do that today, if they had an experience that they would want to share, that this would be a great opportunity for them to do that. And we did have a couple that say they would like to. So we'll let Kelsey start.
Okay, so throughout the week, I learned a lot about God and how much He changes your life. And just like the whole entire week, I learned so much. And I felt like so changed being with like all those people and with the residents, and just that feeling that you get when you help all those people. It really, really touched me a lot, and I decided I wanted to get baptized.
Throughout this week, I came into this, and like the first night, I was like, Heather, what did you get us into? And we first got there, and I didn't listen to Christian music, and I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't that into it, and I didn't like being said and preached to for about 3 hours straight, and sitting there and my ADD going crazy. I was just sitting there, and I started to just think, and as the week went on, I realized that I needed God more than what I thought. And I mean, when I first went into there, and I thought I was pretty close. And as the week went on, I realized that, I mean, even just a couple weeks before we went on this trip, and I sinned a lot. And I didn't realize what I was kept digging my hole, and I needed God a lot. And I dropped to my knees, asking God to come into my life. And I needed Him. And He's changed me throughout that whole week, and seeing the lady there crying because we just painted the house for her, and it just meant a lot to me. And every day now I'm waking up thanking the Lord for everything that He's given me, everything that He's inspired me to do, and I just really want to be a better person in my life and become a man that I know I can be, because with the Lord in me, anything is possible.
Does anybody else want to?
Well, you know, coming into this week, I really didn't want to do this. I kind of just, like the first couple days, I was just more so going through the motions, like, just want to get this over with. And then I started realizing that Zach was fat. Yeah, well, I would tell him. I started realizing that I was more of like a Christian, other than like an actual Christian, and just being surrounded by all of that for a week was just, it was life-changing, and you started realizing what you needed to do in your life, and just everything that you have and other people don't have. It just makes you humbled, and yeah, I'm not good at this, but yeah.
Well, on Sunday night, when we found out the group that we would be working with, I was honestly kind of bitter and didn't really want to be with that group. But about Wednesday, for a week. It wasn't all about me. It wasn't what I wanted to do. It was for nothing but other people, and it was really great.
Tuesday night, after we were done singing and worshiping, me and my mom and Chris were just sitting there and we were crying. And then it was a little bit after everyone else had left, so we were kind of the only ones in there. And Phil Joel, the singer, he walked up and then Chris introduced us, and then he just shook my hand and I just started crying. And then he started praying with me. And 2 days later, he walked up and said, and he had remembered my name. And he said that the prayer he said with me, he doesn't say to anyone. He believed that I was going to grow up to be a really good man. And it was just amazing to me that he remembered my name out of all of the people that he met there. So.
First of all, I just want to say we are blessed to have this group of kids. I mean, we've got wonderful kids, and they've left a lasting impression on me. They say this wasn't easy. I mean, you're out of your comfort zone. We're sleeping on little air mattresses in classrooms, but to see these kids get up every morning, their drive, their will to want to do things every day, it really lit a fire in me. I'm just so proud of these kids, and we are very, very fortunate and lucky to have leadership like Heather and Chris, that they really put their heart and soul into this, and to include my wife and myself, just to give us the opportunity to do our little part. It was just a blessed week, and I come back a changed person, so, and I owe it all to the Lord, so I appreciate that.
Well, before this week, I had a lot of hopes and expectations of what this week would do for the kids. And kind of like what some other kids said, the first night or two, I just thought it was just going to be a long week. I did not think it was going to go over well, and I have to admit, the first day we first got there, we found out we were going to be separated from our girls. I had a little bit of a meltdown myself, and the girls had to comfort me. But as the days went on, I mean, the kids were so excited, and even I seen why we got split up. I mean, to be out of your comfort zone with complete strangers and to make that difference, it just was so much better that way than all of us staying together during the day. And with the transformation of these kids, I mean, it totally surprised me. From the first and second day, like I said, I didn't think it was going to go well, and by the last couple of days, I mean, I can't even count how many times we were crying our eyes out just seeing how these kids have changed, and they just made us so proud this week. And two things that really got to me by the end of the week is, until you experience being in one place with 300 plus teenagers and you see them all on their feet or on their knees with their hands in the air worshiping to a Christian music, until you experience that, you have no idea. I mean, it was just so touching to me. I'd never been involved in anything like that. And the last night, when those kids got up there to share their testimonies, and you heard stories about abuse and drugs and attempted suicides and the way God has changed their life, it just makes me want to be a little bit more patient with teenagers, because that whole room and all them kids, you just don't know what kind of stories those kids, all those other kids had that would be similar to that. And I mean, I'm just ever so grateful that Heather and Chris asked us to go, because it was definitely an amazing week.
was some preconceived idea of how things are going to go when you get there, and it's totally not what you think. It was just unbelievable. I got a couple of things. I mean, there's so many facets to this program. You have the individual growth that took place. You have the crew growth, the people that you worked with, you became closer with them. Then you have the group growth, the people that you went with. And we would meet together after supper every day and share something that happened, and it was just cool to hear all the different stories every day. And then there's the building the relationships with the residents. So there's so many different facets. Let me just share real quick. Like on Monday, the speaker was Craig Smith, and it was really hot in there. I mean, it was so hot in there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And it was like, oh my gosh, hurry up and get this over with, dude. I just got the sweat dripping off me, and it's like, oh. But he talked about creation and the awesomeness of God on Monday, and it was a pretty powerful message. And then Tuesday, he talked about faith and doubt and unbelief, and how as believers, it's okay to have doubt. It's okay to, you don't have to understand everything about God, but it's, you can still serve God even though you have doubt. And that was just a good message. Then Wednesday, he talked about the sin and the blood of Jesus. And he had a really cool analogy, as Christians, sin is missing the mark. And he had this whiteboard up there, and he put a bullseye on it, and you miss it, and you miss it, and you're missing the mark, and you're missing the bullseye. And then you kind of are trying to straighten things up, and as he tried to erase it, it just kind of smeared, and it got worse. And you try to erase something that you screwed up in your life, and it just kind of got worse and more ugly. And then he had a can of red paint, and he covered it, that bullseye, and you couldn't even see the bullseye anymore because it was covered by the blood of Jesus. And that was just a really cool, impactful message, I think. Thursday, mountaintop experience is what he talked about. We were at an event. It was a mountaintop experience. We all were on the high now. We were enjoying it. We were really digging the music, digging each other, rooting for each other, and just how to go back. And you're going to have to let God into every area of your life. Sometimes we compartmentalize him. We're at church, so we put on our church face, but when we're at home, hey, maybe turn off the TV a little bit more and spend a little more time with God. Like Zach said, he realized it's not about him all the time now. So hopefully these kids will take that with them. And then Friday, we can't hide our sin from God. So, these were awesome messages that these guys heard. And the one thing that really stuck out with me, when we went there Sunday, the kids, with the music, you just had to see it. So it was like, because they would be like, Phil Joe, he's got the long blonde hair, and these guys are like, let's get this over, and then like Monday we heard them, we have to go back, and then, it was a little frustrating for us because it's like, man, the music is so good. And then I went Tuesday, some of the kids were going up front, we were having to come up front and sing with them, And then Wednesday there were more kids up front from our group. And then Thursday, I think all the kids were up front praising and worshiping God. And he said, he has a 9-year-old son. He said, when my son comes up to me, he goes like this. And I know he wants me to pick him up. And I just want you guys to know that, you can lift your hands up to God. He's going to pick you up. And I think they all had their hands up. None of us had a dry eye. And we were just bawling like babies, and it was so beautiful. And, it was just a great experience. And, music is important. We worship God in ways with our hands by building, and we worship God with our hands lifted high to Him. And I just love all you guys. I'm glad I got to go on this and be a part of your life. And it's something I'll cherish forever, And, I didn't know you that well before, and I can't wait to get to know you even more, And, Jacob was awesome. Wiley, oh man, the kid, I heard nothing but great things from his crew leader. He's not here. I wish he was here, but he's out camping, so we'll let him slide. But I just heard so many good things. Alex's crew leader, he was like, Alex is really shy, and I'm like, what? No, he's not, you know? I look like the kid, no, he's not, you know? So there were just so many stories that we heard from every one of these guys, crew leaders, and it was just amazing. So.
Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. I know it's getting late. I just want to say, when we first found out about this program, and really, honestly, I just Google searched local teen mission trips and just had faith that God was going to provide us what we needed. And I started, once we got full registration, I started praying for each of the kids individually. And my hope was that maybe two kids would come back with a spark. And that spark could light a fire among the youth in Plymouth. And God was like, are you serious? I can do more than two. You know, well, I can do way better than that. And specifically, I'm going to say this since he's not here, I don't know Wiley that well. And so I kind of held him up a little more in prayer because he was kind of a mystery to me and I didn't know him really well. And when I looked up and saw him in the center with his hand up, it was like God just answered prayers like nothing I've ever seen. And I don't know his story, but it was just amazing. And then as we got home last night and finally got some 3G and internet access because Verizon had really bad coverage there, which was a blessing because we were kind of all unplugged all weekend. It was really nice, myself included. We start seeing Facebook posts from all the kids, right? And they're posting pictures of them with Phil Joel and them with things on the trip. And everybody's was great. They were all best week of my life, best experience. And then I get to this one that I want to share with you guys because it was like the fruition of everything I had prayed for. Wiley posted his picture of his crew, which was really cool, and said, best week ever. And then a little later he posted this, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says, this week has made a significant impact on my life. I got to make a difference in someone else's life too, and it feels amazing. I'm so glad I decided to go on a missions trip with some really amazing people. This experience has changed my life. And for me, everything I've ever done in my life was worth this moment. So I'm so thankful. Thank you to everybody that gave money. A lot of the groups had to pay for a lot of the trip themselves, and we were blessed with an amazing church congregation that always pulls through when we need money. And we had the trip fully funded, which was incredible. And I just appreciate you guys so much, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be with these kids because I love them. Oh my goodness, and I had a great time getting to know the girls better in the room and stuff. But I want to share one more thing, bear with me. We found out Thursday that there's an opening in this program for next year. To bring it to our city. And it's the most excellent program I've ever seen. I mean, they are so organized. They've been doing it for 13 years. And the impact that it makes on the community is unbelievable. I mean, we pulled into town, all the businesses, because it was about a town of like 7,000. All the businesses had welcome Teen Serve. In fact, we stopped at McDonald's to get a bite to eat, and the lady's like, are you guys with Teen Serve? And, you know, it was just the buzz. It had been on the Fort Wayne news the night before, and so everybody was kind of looking for it. And then on Monday when we went out, everybody had these shirts on. So imagine 300 of these you're seeing when you're driving through town, and you're seeing houses be transformed. And that's just one small aspect of it because these kids' lives were changed. And kids from the community were welcome to come in and be a part of the service. There was no charge, of course, or anything. So when we found out that there was an opening for next year, normally it takes 2 years to plan. Of course, I'm like, hello. We are all over that, right? We have the perfect community and area for that. And I just want you guys to start praying now because if we would want to do this, which we talked to a guy at the meeting who had them come to his community last year. He said the lasting impacts of this thing are crazy. Like there'll still be people come to their church and say, I'm here because my grandma's roof got fixed by your organization or painted or a ramp got built or whatever. And this is a year later. So like, it isn't just a week-long activity and then everybody forgets Teen Serve and they forget the sponsoring church or whatever. We could do that. We have an amazing church where everybody always steps up to the plate when we need it, and I know that. You guys are awesome. And I know that if we get the groundwork laid for this, that you'll pull it through, and you will never be the same just being a part of this. We met people all week that had red shirts on that were the volunteers from the sponsoring church, and it was just amazing. People took their vacations. You know, some people maybe only get one vacation week a year. They took that to be out bringing us ladders and feeding us lunch and dinner and all that kind of stuff. So I know we could do that, and I know our community could benefit from it. And actually what they do is they set up a hub at a local school. That's where everybody stays and that's where it takes place. But they repair and fix houses in a 25-mile radius. So I know a lot of you are not actually from Plymouth, but this could impact your community as well, and it would be amazing. So I'm asking that you please, please, please start praying about that, because we will need to move fast if we want to do it. But in my opinion, and probably everybody's up here, it would be the hugest thing we could ever do. I mean, it would involve everybody, and the community would never be the same, and our youth would never be the same. So if you could just join me in prayer for that. Did I miss anything, guys?
Can I say just thank you for the letters that we got on Tuesday, Wednesday, the people that prayed for us. I think you were my prayer partner, so thank you. It was just a great encouragement to get those on Wednesday and just to read through them. I mean, everybody got something, so it was just a real blessing, you know, just kind of, you know, I think they shared the verse. It was Hebrews 12, 1 and 2, or 1 and 3. You know, when we did our devotions every day, that's what it was. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross. And that was kind of our motto, our theme for the week. You know, let's keep going, let's keep running this race. Let's keep running it, even though we get tired and it's hot and whatever, we're going to finish it. And it was just awesome. So thank you for your prayers, because they really did help push us through.
Okay. If everybody would like to stand, we'll close out in prayer. And thank you so much for letting us share. And everybody who gave us car top carriers or anything like that for the trip, it was amazing. Tools.